Well, since my Tiger 900 incident on I-5, I have gotten motorcycle towing insurance for the Tiger, not for my KLX. This KLX, I can't really think of too many situations where I would not be able to get it loaded onto a truck and get it home. And most of the time, the situations where that's likely to occur are places where somebody with a tow truck are not going to want to go. Something I haven't done yet, but I need to do a little checking up on just what does it cost to pay for a tow truck or a motorcycle if you don't have insurance. And then I'll decide, was it really worth getting it? So I've got it for now. It doesn't kick in until, next Monday. In the meanwhile, I got this KLX to ride, and I haven't been doing justice to my e-mountain bike for a while, and I may be riding that a little bit too. My daughter's family's coming up for Memorial Day, and they usually like to do some bike riding up in the Gateway Trail system by Mt Shasta. So I might be riding that just a little bit more to try to get myself in enough condition to where I can not hold them up too much. Like I say, they can be on a standing mountain bike and outride me when I'm on my e-mountain bike. Well, I had my day. I raced mountain bikes for a lot of years. It was pretty good, but that day has slid past. It's gone. So I still ride e-mountain bikes. I still ride this dual sport. And I'm pretty sure I'm still going to be riding that Triumph Tiger 900. But the way I ride has changed a bit, and it's still fun. And I don't say this very often, but I'm 73 years old, which not too bad to be doing this kind of stuff. Well, at the moment, this Revit jacket just feels wonderful. Again, like 75 degrees. That's perfect motorcycle temperatures. But again, we'll see as the season goes on. I get out some hot days with it, just how it does. I got all this motorcycle gear, and I just hope that I can keep riding for enough years to make it worthwhile having it, get some use out of it. The boots I'm wearing right now are Forma Adventure riding boots, which I know if you read all these things, and curious to tell you, oh, you'll break your leg with that. They don't give you enough support. Yeah, I used to race and ride all the time with the really stiff motocross boots. All I can say to that is they give me a fair amount of protection, and I try real hard not to drop motorcycles on my leg. And I've seen no shortage of people break their legs even when they're wearing those motocross boots, myself included. Why did I bring that up? These boots that I'm wearing right now, I got, well, I'm thinking maybe back 10 years ago when I was still riding my Suzuki DRZ 400S, which I got used at a good price. It was an 08. Really fixed this thing up, had it tuned up nicely. So I rode that for a little while, and then once again kind of decided, you know what, maybe I'm going to stop this for a while. So after I sold that, I kind of had a long layoff. It wasn't all that long, but I think it's about 6 years I didn't ride motorcycles. It wasn't until we moved to Mt Shasta. Got to scratch my head about what I wanted to do out here. I liked riding the e-mountain bike. That was fun. But I just got the itch to do motorcycles again, and that's when I got the KLX 300. And after the KLX 300 for about a year, I decided, you know what? I'd like to have a real street bike too, and that's when I got the Suzuki GSX 8S. I didn't keep that one that long. I think that one was only about a year, and it overlapped a bit with the Tiger because it was hard selling. It took a while. Bought the Tiger while I still had it. Didn't really have a lot of room in my garage for 3 bikes, but somehow stuffed them in there. Then finally got that Suzuki GSX 8S sold. It just, the problem with that, it was really a fun street bike, but it really wasn't good on rough, bumpy pavements. And a lot of the street rides that I do, are exactly that, and the Tiger, with its more compliant, a little bit longer travel suspension, is just much better at it. Got to keep reminding myself about that when I think about selling the Tiger and getting a pure street bike again, just because I can find something lighter and easier to move around the garage and easier to keep from tipping over. Keep scratching my head on that. If I did something like that, I'd still want something that was fairly compliant on rough pavement. Wouldn't be really concerned about riding it on dirt. And here's my turn to head for my next left turn, which will take me to Toad Lake. And this is kind of a rough section of road right here. Can I talk about Subaru roads, though? I have taken my Subaru up this and all the way to Toad Lake. So it's a Subaru road, but it's right at the limit of what I would do with a Subaru. And as usual, I start out on pavement, which gets worse and worse and then gradually disappears and turns into dirt. Doesn't take long for this pavement to start breaking up, huh? And I got news for folks. For this stuff that I'm doing right now, this motorcycle has plenty of power, plenty fast. And it never really shows that well, but this climb's pretty steep right here. I like that I'm finally in the season where I don't have to worry about hitting snow and ice. I do that all the time just because I'm bored, but it gets old always having to turn around and sometimes waiting just a little bit too long before you turn around and then worried about the ice or whatever you happen to be on at the time. You know, when I ride roads like this, I really don't worry about it, but you got a steep shoulder off to one side here, and if, you know, something happened, you hit a rock, or maybe you're just not paying attention like you should, and you drop a wheel over the edge there, and your bike winds up 5 feet off the edge there, and you're trying to figure out how to get it out by yourself. Haven't had that happen in years, but back in my dirt bike days when I used to do crazy stuff, that's happened to me a few times, but like I told you, I used to ride with friends. So with help you could get out, but I ride solo. So I saw something, and I saw some reviews on it called the Dragon something winch. Weighs about 1.5 pounds. Got about 20 feet of line with it, and it's in my pack right now. I got one. I hope I never ever use it. Just got it yesterday and just tried it out in my garage a little bit this morning. Got it all figured out. And it could help a lot if you got yourself into a bind. So when I ride out here or ride anywhere on a motorcycle, I prepare for the worst and do my absolute best to make sure that worst never happens. Now, that Tiger 900 thing that happened to me was a new one on me. I never had a bike that I really had to worry about over-tightening the front brake. But I've never had high-end Brembo Stylema brakes before, which have very little clearance between the pads and the rotor. So it probably takes a lot less being slightly over-tightened on that to make those brake pads drag just a little. There's a friend of mine I did a lot of dirt bike riding with, but he was extremely scared of heights. And in spite of that, you know, give him credit, he would go on these Colorado 500 charity dirt bike rides in Colorado with me. But we'd get on some of these shelf roads with cliffs, not just a little bit steep on one side. And he would hug the inside far away line on any corner that he's going around to the point where he's just about to crash his bike into the wall on the other side. I get it. I understand that. I've never had that kind of fear. But have a healthy respect for what can happen to you if you do go off some sort of steep edge. In Colorado, some of those steep edges, there's no doubt about what's going to happen to you. You're through with this world. Out here, though, it's not just vertical cliffs. This stuff, your bike would go over. I don't know how far down it would go, but probably wouldn't kill you. You never know about anything. Oh, it's a long ways down on the right. I would not want to go over there. That's steeper than most. Which reminds me, look where you want to go. Don't look where you don't want to go. I think I'll just focus on the road. See Porcupine Peak up there. I'm not sure I tilted my head back in time for it to show in the camera, but Porcupine Peak is up above Toad Lake. There it is again. Maybe you can see it. And that's a very prominent peak. You can see it from all over the Mt Shasta area, but most people have no idea what they're looking at or where it actually is. You can't get to it without some hiking. Yeah, I don't remember what the name of this creek is. Could be one of the forks of the Sacramento. I'll stop for just a moment and take a look at the map. I'll follow it a little further downstream. Middle Fork. Okay, it's the middle fork of the Sacramento River. Now the suspension on this klx230s, I like it. It's pretty good, but it can't compete with the dirt bikes I used to ride. Much longer travel yet, much higher end suspension, which generally would be pretty plush on the rocks and so forth, yet firm up, and you could do big jumps and things on it, and they would not bottom out. But again, that doesn't bother me. The way I'm using this bike, the suspension is very good. But don't mistake it for a serious dirt bike. I've said before, you could ride one of these things in an enduro, and you could, and I think you'd have a lot of fun. But only at the sea level, and realizing you got some limitations compared to some of the other motorcycles. And also keeping in mind, if you get too envious, a lot of the people in the C class that are on fairly serious dirt bikes really don't know how to ride them very well. So it's really not as big an advantage for them as you might think. And I'm not really trying to point fingers. I'm somewhat doing a self-own on that. When I first started racing enduros, I thought I was a good rider, so I got a very serious off-road racing-oriented bike, and darn near killed myself for a year on it. Now where I'm going up towards Toad Lake, it's kind of a drainage basin. You look at the Gaia map, and there's all kinds of little creeks up here that all kind of fan out and then eventually coalesce back into the middle fork of the Sacramento River. Well, I still see ways you could go through this, dodging rocks, bringing up a Subaru, so it's still possible. As always, of course, you go slow when you're careful. And I made it up almost anyway, to what used to be a campground up here. It's been abandoned. That road off to my right goes past old campsites. It's all been taken out. I mean, there's nothing really much here aside from the road, and seen some kind of cleared out sites to indicate it was ever a campground. I guess I'll have to interrupt for just a moment, but I went to the Forest Service website that talks about Toad Lake, and they said that this lower campground that I said has been taken out is a primitive campground. So by that definition, it's not taken out. And they said that there is a developed campground up at Toad Lake.
and I would have to take exception to that. There is an outhouse up there, but it is falling down. I've gone up and looked at it. Doors are falling off and just everything's in bad shape. It does have some picnic tables at a few sites, but once again, those are in bad shape also. Of interest, they said that the lake has rainbow, brown, and brook trout in it. And I don't know if that would be true or not, because I don't know if that lake actually freezes all the way to the bottom in the winter, which would kill all the fish. If that's the case, I would guess that it doesn't, because I kind of doubt they're stocking it anymore. But if it does stay livable for the trout all winter long, there could be some good fishing there.
And when we hike up here, we usually park right here. This is the trailhead.
Here's some video of Toad Lake from that hike we took up there. It's about a half mile up from the trailhead and with a little bit of climbing, but it's not hard. That's Porcupine Peak in the background, and Porcupine Lake is right below it. And now we've just hiked up to Porcupine Lake.
A lot harder to get to, but I think this is prettier than Castle Lake. That's an unusual thing.
Now back to today's ride.
So, sign says caution, don't spread New Zealand mud snails. So why not do a droney? Go out 20 meters and get a look back at the area behind me. And once it comes back, I am going to then do a follow me from the front and go around the campground a little bit. It sure likes to zing back and forth. There's a campsite right there to my left. Nice big rock pile for a fire. Another one, that's two. I have never seen anybody camping up here, but it's not like I come up here very often. And it probably does happen. It's really a nice area. I mean, if you like to hike, there's a good trail, and if you like to do kind of bushwhacking, off-trail stuff, this looks like a really good place to do it. Is I going to be smart enough to realize that I've turned around? I don't know. Oh, there it is, in front of me. Okay. Didn't see it because I looked left, it was circling around to my right. So this is one part of the campground here. I think there's a road off to the left that takes you to the other part, and as I've learned with this drone, this is not something you can really get great action shots of yourself, because you got to go really slow. Maybe if I was a trials rider, which I'm anything but. This is where I don't want it to go down, in this mud. And it's still up there, good. Again, this would be an outstanding place to camp. Anybody that wants to come up here and tent camp, or maybe if you got a slide-in truck camper, or maybe a four-wheel drive Class B with some good ground clearance. Oh, it survived it. Flipped it a little bit. It thought about going down. That little road to my left, I think, goes to some campsites too. North Fork would be on the other side of the ridge over there. Oh, Mt Shasta. This is probably enough to convince a lot of people that think they might want to come up this way in a normal vehicle of some sort to maybe not do it.
Today's ride was about 35 miles, and until next time.